If it was like November 1st and I showed up, I just would not be walking every square inch of it. You just couldn't pay me to do it.
All right, welcome back to the Whitetail Podcast presented by Onyx Hunt. This week we have Jason Michael. Jason's been hunting for almost 30 years with about 95% of it being public land.
I would not go on those 1 mile, big, massive loops walking around on it looking for an Easter egg. It's just, that's not me. I know what's there after years of seeing it from a terrain standpoint, and I'm just going to go in and use what knowledge I have now, use my equipment, my tools, try and source it out as quick as possible.
By the end of this episode, you will learn how to read brand new terrain in hours instead of days, why wind speed could matter more than wind direction, and why respecting a big buck beats chasing one. Here we go.
30 years of ups and downs, getting winded a lot. Someone will go, but Jason, how good really is their nose? I'll just tell someone, it's just so dang good, I don't think you want to know, because it would freak you out.
All right, Jason, you got the sneak peek of the very beginning of a new studio.
Absolutely.
Now we're on a table.
Yep, we're here, but we're here.
Thanks for swinging by. It's always a pleasure. Always
Yes.
a pleasure. What have you been up to?
Running a chainsaw, and running a chainsaw. A little bit of habitat work. Little bit on the road, not as much as maybe years past. When I seen you the last time, it was about mid-August.
Yeah.
And I think we had a text.
Yeah.
You were like, hey, I shot a turkey. I'm like, man, I wonder if we shot it in the same hour. Two different states,
Yeah.
whatever. I was in Kansas, you were in Illinois. But just haven't been doing like my deer thing maybe as much this year. I kind of got things chiseled in. It's just repetition now every year. But same mineral sites, some new ones, some new camera locations. But made a run here about 6 weeks ago, did Kansas and Iowa and Ohio. And on this run, I started out with 2 days ago with Smokey's deer lure. I was there at his place working on some trees, the crab trees, and southern Ohio yesterday, and caught back up with a deer that I had pictures of a month ago and seen his growth. So he's doing good. And hey, here comes August 1st, and it's full moon tonight, July 28th, if I'm thinking right, 29th?
Yeah.
29th.
This morning I got up before the sun came up and it was full on.
It was evident.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
Is it a full moon today? You know,
It's called the buck moon.
Yeah.
It is called the buck
Which
moon.
I'm sure we'll get into it. But,
Yeah.
well, no, so for everyone who hasn't caught some of the previous episodes, I mean, you're extremely positive, very encouraging, and I think that's why you resonate with so many different folks. So in case people haven't caught, who is Jason Michael? Who are you? Which I know is such a weird question, but.
Born and raised originally as a native of Pennsylvania. Did high school there, and then 18 years old, went in the Air Force, went around the country, jumped over to Korea, served the country for 4 years, again the Air Force, and then just always was bit bad as a kid, just trapping, running the creeks, coon hunting with my dad, figured out what this bow and arrow thing was, and then just started running the country and got involved with some people in Kansas originally in 1996 and 97, and just haven't left off the throttle, just a normal guy that had a passion and has never left off the throttle with my deer hunting.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Question for you: you were just in Southern Ohio. What's the consensus there so far? Obviously, EHD was top of mind for pretty much across the country. Everyone knew that area got hit pretty hard. What's your opinion? What's your findings? Maybe exactly where you're at didn't get decimated, but just what have you heard from the chatter in that general region, or have you heard much?
Yep, so that's more southeastern, obviously, and a lot of that where they're at the core being Athens County or the town of Athens, give or take. They're in, as a figure of speech, they're in West Virginia in minutes, so to say. They're down tight in that hole, just to give someone an idea. And then I'm comfortably 2 hours more west over there. But still, that whole south central bottom fared out pretty good. Our county there and the county beside us wasn't too bad. And then the county or two to the north, it got better. And obviously getting up more into Columbus, no real signs of it. But when it rains, it pours, and it really hit that pocket.
Yeah.
But it seems good. And like we were discussing earlier, it's going to come back, and it usually comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Which is obviously encouraging for anyone that's not feeling so awesome right now. But you've hunted for a very long time, all across the place, permission, public, kind of the full gambit. What do you think that a lot of people may misunderstand about mature bucks specifically that are maybe newer? And maybe you can even think about yourself 10, 15, 20 years ago of just what's one thing that a lot of people, if you could tell everyone, like, hey, we might need to reconsider or rethink about X when it comes to mature bucks.
I think just in whole, so I'm that guy. People wouldn't really know this if I didn't say it. So I don't own 1 acre. I'm not a land manager. I help with a lot of those guys. I have for about 20 years, but the last 10 years, obviously, as this game's gotten better, helping with food plots, habitat work, TSI, all the hinge cutting and all that. But I'm a public land guy, so I'm still an opportunist, and I'm a canoe guy, not so much a kayak guy, which I think Cameron brought me up in that one episode,
Yeah.
thought of me on that. And I'm still that guy. I still hunt 93, 94, 95% public, and I enjoy it. I'm not that type of guy for going after a booner, but I just, again, being that real world guy that hunts a lot of public, what do you call it? The DIY
Yep.
hunts is taking and watching these deer and trying to get close to even a 3-year-old. Now, as the years have gone by, 4 and 5-year-olds, I think the biggest thing just to keep in mind, it's like a 10-pound largemouth. They still got to eat. They still got to survive. They still got to, as a figure of speech, walk and talk. They got to go out and move and cover ground. They just do it in their own way. They're more secretive. Their movements are limited, but they're not impossible. They're rarer. The opportunity is rare, but they're still doing their thing. And I just don't want people to think that it's impossible, that they're all nocturnal. I think is there such a thing potentially as a nocturnal deer? I would have to say to some extent, yes. But for the majority of people, they're like, look, all my cameras, they're 10 at night, 1 in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning. I've never gotten a daytime picture of him. I said, how many acres do you own? 80. But I'm getting the pictures of him mostly in the southeast corner. I'm like, but he's probably not nocturnal when he first stands up 500, 600, 700 yards away.
Right.
He's nocturnal to you on your cameras on your property. But again, they still got a belly. They still have habitat they seek out. They're just trying to hide. They're trying to survive, and obviously they get better with it. But I think the big thing to keep in mind, not so much as a public land hunter, but even as a land manager, you get to hear those guys, is the deer are different. Each buck as a figure of speech is different. I don't know what it would be. I'm just using this as an example. They're going to fall into like 5 different categories, for example. Even 200-inch deer in velvet, they've gotten many pictures of him, many daylights a lot. Then there's these 4-year-olds that score like maybe 150, 160, and they just don't get many pictures of them. And I thought about this on my trip in today, Jake, and it's just so funny. I'm catching up with even Drury's dream season from 2025. High-end managers, high-end deer hunters, very, very, very tactical at what they do, just like some of the others that have been on here with Lakoski or with Skip. Great landowners, great land managers. When you set them down and say, hey, do you think these deer got personalities? They'll like laugh and fall out of the chair backwards. They'll be like, absolutely. That's what people are not. They think all these deer are the same. So when you're trying to think about the misconceptions of a big buck, it is a tough question to answer. And some of them will daylight more. Others maybe are fighters and can be rattled in. Others, you rattle antlers or even snort wheeze and catch them at 100 yards. You'd think, man, he's a 250-pound, 165-inch deer. He just doesn't want to be bothered with it, not even at Halloween. So the personality thing's there, and I think that's what a lot of people are missing.
I think that's a great. What are a handful of personalities if you had to describe? I think your point to Buck's nocturnal is like, well, you're probably not in his core area where he's typically bedding a bunch, but like an aggressive personality would be one, a more passive,
submissive.
loner.
Yep. Absolutely. Some just are daywalkers more.
Yeah.
They just don't mind it as much, and there's others that are just skittish as all get out.
Roamer. I feel like a roamer.
Yep.
Is another one.
Yep.
What other personalities can we? Because
Well,
hopefully people be like, oh yeah, that
I
deer,
wouldn't
kinda
even
like
maybe say this is very fair to add in. I wouldn't call it a personality. I'll let you decide what we call it. But even like Justin was on a few weeks ago, like a lot of those deer, your farm could be an incubator. Your farm can be great for velvet, bachelor groups, and then boof, 3/4 of them are gone.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to a guy that I knew of, met and talked with 25 years ago, Gabe Schaffner from Illinois. He was a big-time bow hunter, North American whitetail. Don has referenced him different times. And it's where I started paying attention, and I was actually at like the Illinois Deer Classic, or something like that at the time. That wasn't out yet. But he said, Jason, I've found the sheds. I've watched him with my binoculars at that time in velvet. And when I shot him with an arrow after 2-3 years of trying to catch up with him, all in an area the size of a football field. That was just that deer. That was his lifestyle. So not to get into too much detail, but we're both aware of a deer. You lived with him personally for 2 years, had a 7-mile range. And after the deer got talked about more, over a 2-year period of when he was really big, this guy goes, well, I have all the pictures of him and on my camera in Velvet in July and August. And this individual goes, I have him on my camera in the rut.
Yeah.
And another guy goes, I have these sheds from every year.
Right.
Over a 7-mile window.
Yeah.
As he did his thing. Now, not to get into the specifics of where he went, how he traveled,
Which
but that was that particular deer.
Yeah, that was the person.
But yet Gabe and other people I know, all in an area, let's just say 100 acres. Once he got 6 and 7 and 8 years old and really dumbed his window down of travel, his core became now what we'll call a micro core. He never left it. Yeah. But that was just that deer.
When it comes to whitetail hunting, one of the most overlooked pieces of gear that gets pushed to the wayside is your glass. And that is why I love Hawk Optics. They have a variety of different options at an affordable cost, backed with a lifetime warranty that rivals all of the premium optic manufacturers. Whether you're looking for a pair of binoculars, a spotting scope to have in your truck at all times when you're cruising around and you see a deer in the backfield, pop this out. It's very compact, very surprisingly good glass for the price. And if you want to save 15% off, you can use the code WHTL at Hawk's website. You're going to support the show, save some money, and get some good glass and be backed for life.
Is there any ability to learn more from, you talk about rare deer in that scenario, but have you ever, do you feel like it's better to learn from those types of deer or just I don't want to say
the common average deer
average
that falls between a 3 and a 7.
Yeah,
don't worry about number 1.
Yeah.
Don't worry about on the 1 to 10 scale a 10.
Yeah.
But what falls in even a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is, but I don't really got the scientific answer today for that. But it's time on stand. It's getting to know them. It's getting to know your style of hunting. A lot of people now with the mobile world are up and down and all over and up and down and all over. Another guy will have 2 stands, and over a 10-day period, he has 4 sets. And 3 of them were in one stand, and one of those 4 sets was in another stand, and he elected not to hunt the others because he's going after a specific deer. He's hunting a cold front, or he's hunting the right wind direction, so there's a ton of variables to that.
What camp would you fall in typically?
I'm 100%. I'll hunt one stand on 100 acres and hunt it 6 sets the whole month. Like I'm extreme the other way.
Yeah. Were you ever the other way?
Not too much.
Really?
Because the knowledge wasn't there. We all used screw-in tree steps in the late 80s, early 90s when I was starting out in high school. And once we found out kind of like, man, these climbers, an old summit climber, and yeah, we tried some different things, but I'm a pretty conservative hunter, and I just really walk in, identify something. We'll get into that later, like taking on big tracts of land. I'll identify something within 30 minutes on a huge tract of land, and I'm back in the truck. I'm in town the rest of the day. I do not walk it out.
What I feel like I want to talk a little bit about woodsmanship, and I feel like that's kind of a hot topic. Obviously there's tons of different tools and resources, information that's out there, and a lot of people that have more experiences, newer hunters are not getting a level of woodsmanship that maybe you did. You mentioned, trapping coons with your dad and everything else, and if you go to a trade show and ask a bunch of juniors, like, what's your upbringing? Like, well, and it's just probably much different than what it was 20 years ago. So the root of this question is with that in mind. But what do you think you're noticing in the woods? You and I take a walk in the woods. What do you think that you would notice that I would potentially just walk past from you potentially being more in tune when it comes to woodsmanship?
Exceptional amount of droppings. Exceptional amount of acorns have fallen versus just a handful. That when you literally cannot take a step and not step on 3 to 7 acorns. Then there's other places we could walk 70 yards and at a steady walk and see just a handful of acorns. So that's going to help differentiate what's going on there. Some things like people walk in on property, what else aren't they seeing? I did a post from Iowa, roughly, it was like 3 weeks ago, I think, the best I can figure, wishing America happy 250th.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm standing here with a cluster of red oaks. And so your red oaks drop much later than your white oaks. We've discussed that. You can push that into the beginning of December. But man, those red oaks during the rut, that 10th through the 15th of November, is going to be great, where your white oaks, as a rule, are all washed up. They're long gone. End of September through middle of October, about October 20th, they're pretty much done for the most part. It's going to differ from Wisconsin to down in Kentucky or Tennessee a little bit, but still, yeah, they're lightly faded away, and your red oaks are coming on strong. So we got to consider that if we're on a destination hunt and we go to Iowa, because we've been waiting 6-7 years to draw our tag, and we're there in March, shed hunting, we're scouting, we're walking terrain, we're making some things, and go, man, there's a cluster of red oaks, like 10, 12, 14 of them. And I kind of age trees. I know it sounds a little weird, and I'm like, man, a lot of these trees are 50 to 80 years old. These are some smoker, like make a logger proud type red oaks. I'm going to key in on that and remember that. It's going to be a great starting point come Halloween when I come back.
Mm-hmm. Do you typically find, is that where you typically find a lot of sign too? And the root of that is too, where maybe that's a miss that people are like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of sign in here. It's like, well, why is there a bunch of sign? Oh, in this scenario, there's a bunch of red oaks that are dropping acorns that you can't, if you didn't connect those two, you could think it would be something else. And it could be something else. It could be a train feature, it could be a bedding area. But how important do you think is this to continue to stack on and I guess ask the question why of why this is going on, for example? It's like, does that go through your mind when you're...
A little bit, but again, if I'm there in March, I'm trying to estimate what it's going to be like when I get there based on the last 20 years of being a public land hunter. And yeah, I mean, again, it's a tough one. Or did I show up blind? And I'm just getting to that one question we'll talk about later. And I'm going to start out here in the end of October and take on a big mass piece of ground. You're going to have a different read on it. A lot of that stuff you'll see going into November 1 that you wouldn't have seen in the end of March, early April. But that just comes with years of experience.
What when you do show up on a brand new spot, what are you paying attention to?
If it's a lot of what you call just terrain, call it what you want, western central Illinois, all of the eastern bluffs of Iowa, south central Iowa is different obviously than the northern central and northwestern Iowa.
Yep.
You go from a pancake to rolling hills. You go over to the bluff side, if you want to call it what you want, Davenport and Dubuque, that part of Iowa. Now it's like you don't even want to ride a pedal bike. It gets a little challenging. So I am looking at terrain, kind of like your boys in the New England states. When you start talking the Berkshire Mountains of Massachusetts or New Hampshire, for the majority of Maine, once you get away from the coast, it's terrain. All of that central and southern tier of New York State, and all of that northern central Pennsylvania region where some of your speakers come from that before, it's all terrain features. It really is. I would look at it at a distance from glasses, through the glasses, or I would, look at my Onyx map. Obviously we have that to look at. And then my walking would be, it'd be specific. I'd be going into a specific area to check things and not going off on tangents 700 yards that way, or 400 yards down in that valley. I'd be checking points and ridges, or I'd be walking the low spots. Like if I was in more of the Midwest and there wasn't much terrain, I would be looking for any creek or ditch I could, and I'd be walking it like I'm a trapper, scouting for muskrats and mink. And then that's how it would start out. I just want, this is going to come up a couple more times, I know it will, this podcast, but I just want, if it was like November 1st and I showed up, I just would not be walking every square inch of it. You just couldn't pay me to do it.
It's a little counterculture to what people say.
I know.
Or I'd go in there, I'd tear it all apart, scare every deer, and then start over.
And you'll have a guy say, hey, that's how I do it, and this is what I do. And I'm, he isn't that public land hunter that has 10 deer over 160 on his wall either. But it's just a little much. And again, we talked about these bucks. Some are fighters, some are passive. That's just me, my style of hunting. And I'm not that real aggressive guy that powers everything out. I don't train, I don't jog. I run chainsaw enough. I've worked very hard every day. I've always been pretty physically conditioned since high school, but I'm just not training so I can go hunt whitetails like you would elk the first and second week in Colorado. It's just, those are two different beasts, and I don't want to bring that style of elk hunting into my whitetail world. But again, that's just me, Jake. So
you mentioned, you would go in with a specific mission. You would go in based off of terrain. Just paint a picture of something that maybe someone could be, some key things of where they can be looking like, oh yeah, I'm going to go start there and see what happens. So like, when you say terrain, bottoms was something that you mentioned.
Bottoms, ridge tops.
Yep. And just go in there and qualify it, but don't turn over every single leaf.
Don't turn over every single leaf. You're going to see it you got to almost envision it with your apps on your Onyx, envision it from 1,000 feet. 30,000 feet, whatever you want to call that. And then you just set back at a distance. If it's a mile away, hopefully you can get the right road. You get it within a half a mile, some of those settings, and you just sit there for an hour and just glass it and watch it and think it through. And am I approaching from the east? Am I approaching from the west? The next few days is we got a couple 2 days of northwest winds moving in. How am I going to approach that? You can do that even in March. You can really think your process through, make all your marks, write some notes down, and just start to put the game plan together. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. No, and it is crazy what you can do with Onyx, for like with LiDAR. I mean, if you switch between all the different, filters and everything else, you can pick up a lot of really subtle things that you could easily miss if you did not have it and already pre-looked. Like, oh yeah, there's. I like using on creeks, for example. It's like there's always a great creek crossing, and usually you can, with LiDAR, you can see the depression along the banks of where that is likely going to be, and you go there and you verify, and you're like, oh dang, that's great. I don't have to go monkey around and look a bunch of different places. Here it is.
What about the guy that sets their tree stand in August and September, 2, 3, 4, 5 states away, wherever they're going on that destination hunt, and a couple boys in their late 20s, and they get their stand set, and they get back there. It's November 4th or 5th. They're going to start their hunt. And they get about 60, 70 yards from their tree stand, and they go, I stand out almost as much as a monkey on the side of a telephone pole. I didn't know them maple trees drop their leaves 2, 3 weeks ahead of the oak trees. And then the red oak dang near holds them on. He can still, so if you have a fence row, Rich, you're going to appreciate this one. If you have a fence row that's 200 yards long, you can catch the same coyote at each end of that fence row. And God forbid in the middle where the tractors go through, that opening is, they're running that fence row, and it's like an hourglass in the middle, and they go that way and that way. So you see this in seconds if you got an eye for that as a trapper. That white-tailed deer is the same damn thing. You're just they could have maybe, if they had that woodsmanship and that knowledge, and not knocking any of them. I've said it before about 4 or 5 podcasts ago. I'd probably give up every deer on my wall to be 25 years old again. I really would. But just to be that young and be that excited. But they'll see it. They'll catch on to it. They'll learn the hard way. They're listening to this right now, and they'll put the tree stand in the tree, and they'll look at their buddy and go, hey, what is the difference between a soft maple and a hard maple? The guy will go, man, I don't know. One of them gives maple syrup, and one of them doesn't. And so it gets so it gets fun.
I think that brings up a good point. I was a guest on a podcast this week, and I actually brought that same exact thing up about hanging sets in the summer. It's like, okay, what tree is going to hold the leaves the latest? Are you going to go hang it in a walnut tree or a hackberry or something like that, and the leaves fall down? And then, granted, if you have good back cover, that's one thing. But if there's a spot and you want to be there and you want to have good cover, is there a big cedar tree that you can carve out a little spot in it? And those are all the little details that you just simply learn. Because I have been guilty of that in August or September. This is very timely because I need to go hang some more stands. And I would get there and I would do the same exact thing.
How many times has John Eberhardt said hunting with a bow in January in Illinois? He never sees another hunter. It's cold. There's snow on the ground. And that locust beanbod tree is dropping them by the hundreds. Yeah. And he kills them bucks over that. Yeah. No one within screaming distance to help him drag a deer out. He's got half the county to himself. Yeah. Perfect tactic. He can go in there in July and go, okay, there's a locust beanpod, that thorn honey locust, and there's about 6 or 7 of them. That habitat's over there. Those beans and corn are going to be long gone. So this is my best odds here. I'm going to hunt that screwy-looking 30, 40-year-old locust beanpod tree. And he just starts putting things together, and that's woodsmanship. Yeah. He was doing that 45, 50 years ago. Yeah. There was nothing to pull out the app and go, oop, that's a honey locust. Oop, that's a sunset locust. We are spoiled. Sugar maple, red maple, chestnut. Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah.
I think that's a great piece for someone that's like, I've asked this question a bunch of, like, how do you become a better woodsman? And I think that's, use the picture of this app. And if you see a species you don't know, pull out your phone and go, and then if you don't have signal, take a picture and then upload it later.
Go home and get on YouTube and, I got that Fire Stick now, and I'm just like, hey, fire, what is it? And it pulls it up on YouTube. So, I just sat there and learn. That's how I learned a lot with my crab apples and just different things and what to fertilize and what not to do. And I still have this saying, there's a couple of you here, but like if we don't have honeybees above ground or redworms below ground, night crawlers below ground, we're screwed. And then I watch stupid stuff on the worms and the aerators and all what they do, and it's just how everything plays together. You do the same thing with all your trees.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I like trees, so I'm always want to learn more. But So just to wrap up the woodsmanship, the one terrain feature. What's one terrain feature you've become more confident with? Because you mentioned, so this is perfect because bottoms often there can be a lot of sign, but the wind often isn't going to cooperate potentially. Is there any way that you found success to be able to hunt a bottom, or is it
So
more
you got tops and bottoms.
Yeah,
They're right there.
Picture Midwest rolling.
Yeah.
You got a couple ridges come down. You have a creek. There's probably an oxbow somewhere on the bend of the farm somewhere.
Yep. Let's say we're deep in the timber. Let's say we're 400 to 700 yards deep back of river bottom, private ground, public, whatever. So you go. Here's bedding, here's feeding. We got soybeans, we got corn. Now we're deep in the timber. We go, here's a bottom. You can see where the floodplain was, stumps and driftwood and stuff laying all over, some habitat, growed up stuff. Great place for them to be. I think I heard you say recently on one of your podcasts, the guy's like, oh, I like the ridges. The guy, Illinois, Whitetail property. Yeah, he goes, I like the ridges. You go, I like the bottoms. So I'm sitting there between you two watching them, and I really like Danny's. His character's just incredible. And I'm sitting there going, I want to be right in the middle, just like everybody.
I like the bottoms. I don't like to hunt them. So
yeah, no, there you go. But I'm looking there and going, how can I catch him? Because that's one of my things with, like when I do a mock scrape or I'm setting up for that fourth week of October, which we will get into that one. He's going to stand up, stretch, and he's got a destination in mind coming down off the ridge, or he's coming out of a thicket coming straight out. But let's use the scenario that he's coming out and he's going to drop down and observe, looking left and right as he comes down. And then once he just starts down there, then he's going to start out into that bottom. He still may have 400 more yards to go to what you call standing ag or cut ag. But I want to be in that common ground in the middle, right there when he breaks and comes down. And if that habitat allows me to get to the bottom of that ridge, that's what I'm going to do. And that's maybe a whole story in itself. But the other thing I want to throw out that I mentioned a couple podcasts ago, coming here today, how many times when we go to park our truck, it's somewhat breezy. And we also know that with 30 minutes to go, 45 minutes to go, it's so dead calm, we don't want to get out of the dang tree and climb down. It's so deadly quiet.
Yeah.
So what happened in that 4-hour window? Yeah, take advantage of them breezy days that it's like right at 20, and it's going to settle to like 6 or 8 right at dark. That is like, that's what I want. I don't want it to be 3 to 5 degrees or 3 to 5 mile an hour winds all day, and I'm trying to sneak in 4 hours before dark the fourth week of October to get to that scrape line. That could be a little tough. So you're going to have to be like a house cat going in there. But yeah, keep in mind those wind speeds, not the wind direction, but the wind speed to cover your actual steps as a hunter going in, and then try to get to that breaking point where you think they're coming off that ridge. They got their destination spot to start out their rub line. Their scrapes, or maybe your mock scrapes, and then hopefully if it's not a shooter or other deer that can pass by you, going out to those destination sources, let it get dark, get down, and go back out the same way you came in if need be.
Yeah, those evenings where there's no movement in terms of wind or anything else.
Yep.
It's just like,
breeze is best.
Yeah.
Breeze is
Yeah.
best. 8 to 10 is almost your absolute sweet spot. You want it.
What about above that? What about high winds? I feel like this last fall was super windy.
Yep. If it was the rut, I like it. If it's the second week of October, I don't care for it too much.
Yeah. What do you like about it during the rut? Able to get in and move around?
If it was breezy, I would like it if it's scattered showers and mixed. So I'm no duck hunter, but I talk to guys when it's just bluebird and it's sunny and it's gorgeous. First 30 minutes to 45 minutes, last 30 minutes to 45 minutes. It is what it is. I'm no duck hunter, but I know I'm close by saying that. If it's a little stormy, if it's a little windy, and it's like sleeting and snowing, and then it goes back to a light rain, then it gets nice for an hour. Let's say the sun comes out lightly, and then it goes back to more sleet and rain and snow, whatever. They can't settle. So if you climbed in the tree by 8:30 and you hunted till 4, it's a good dang thing to happen, especially if it's like that 8th, 10th of November, pushing on through like the 17th, 20th of November. Mm-hmm. I want it to be a little miserable, a little unseasonable. It's just bluebird and stable weather would be really good for your October hunts, especially like the 20th through the 30th. I wouldn't mind, and we'll get into that too. Last year, I think you and I can concur. I said, Jake, this was my best day of trail cameras in a 4 to 5 hour window over any 2-week period put together, including November. And you're like, what was that? And I text you and I sent you all the pictures. Lots of 3-year-olds, piles of 3-year-olds for one licking branch that I made. And it was the afternoon of October 27th. And someone would go, why was that? It rained for 16 hours prior to that, and the rain stopped by 9 or 10 in the morning. And from noon to 4 o'clock, all heck broke loose with still 2.5 hours of daylight left. I didn't get a picture of a deer at 5 or 6 o'clock. They were off and going. All on a licking branch, all on a high-end def trail camera, very good footage. And I wasn't even in Iowa.
That's the best part of the story.
But to prove our point, it's just that's the way it was. We come off of a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Steady rain through the night, hammering rain, 2.5 inches over 16 hours, maybe 3 inches.
It just shows how important weather is when it comes to getting things to kind of bounce in your favor. I mean, we talk about the terrain, all these different things, but throughout the season, the weather can really help stack your odds very quickly.
It affects us even as we would get older. That dog, even though he's older, even though he's middle-aged, these people have these pet dogs. He'll tell you what the deal is. He's under a porch in the shade, or it's too hot, it's too humid. He's not putting up with it, and he goes and sources out a place where he's comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's everything.
Yeah. What, okay, I'm going to run you through a scenario here. If I hand you 5,000 acres,
Yep.
unfamiliar public ground, it's October 28th. How would you narrow it down in the first 12 hours? So, I give you the keys. Go. Not Iowa. Random state.
Brand new state. Let's pick Arkansas.
Let's
go to Arkansas.
All right.
Razorbacks. So I got my technology. I got my Onyx Hunt app. And I got 12 hours to do this. So I'm going to go from daylight till dark, October 28th. That's about right on the money. Not quite. 11 hours of daylight. And I'm going to do small walks. I don't know if any of those walks are going to be a half mile, like small walks, 100 yards to 400 yards.
Loops.
Maybe straight in and straight out.
Okay.
And I'm going to look for the best terrain I can quickly out my window from another ridge angling across, because there's some terrain down there, especially the northwest corner. That's almost intimidatingly big. But, I'm going to glass, I'm going to use my app, and I'm going to walk straight in, straight out. I'm going to walk in the valleys, and I'm going to try and find some flats and some bottoms. Or I'm just going to go straight up over a point, identify something, looking for some oaks, looking for a little flat bench up there, looking for maybe a blowed down tree or two that some straight line winds took out, and I can kind of go over there and nose around that a little and get out of there. And then if I'm there for the next week, I may not go back to that specific spot for 3 days. I'll mark that tree. I may go in and do a hunt and hang, and just make them as many quick striking spots as possible. And then say I'm never going back. But if I had to go in and assess, that would be the route I would take. I'd keep it very simple. I would not go on those 1 mile big massive loops walking around looking for an Easter egg. It's just, that's not me. I know what's there after years of seeing it from a terrain standpoint, and I'm just going to go in and use what knowledge I have now and use my equipment, my tools, and try and source it out as quick as possible.
I think it's a little different than what a lot of people say, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
If you did that, let's say, okay, so you have 12 hours, you do some of those short beeline in and outs. How many spots do you think you would find? Let's say, you have 12 hours to scout. You have 1 day to scout. And
being picky.
3 or 4 days to hunt.
Being picky, 3 to 4.
3 to 4.
Yep. And just to give you a quick idea, I had a friend at home says, hey, I'm going to Ohio. And he really was. And he said, what would you do? I'm getting the license. I'm going down Thursday. I'm going to hunt through Sunday. I'm going to try and get back then for the rut. But what would you do? I said, right now, looking at all this massive expanse of public ground, I said, see all that ag in the bottom? See these 2 points, how they come out and drop down like a V coming to the point at the bottom down to where the ag is?
Yep.
Let's try something. I said, you got a great set of wheels about yourself. You're young, you're healthy, you're in your late 30s, early 40s, and you're a great saddle hunter. He's helping me get in with that more. And I said, there may or may not be a logging road there. I said, you got your red or green lamp, do what you got to do, and you're going to backdoor this for 1 hour in the dark in the morning. Then plan on getting set up and setting there in the dark for roughly 30 minutes. Take them big, long ridges that came out to those points and pick one you like the most. I'd probably pick the eastern side if the wind's going to be northwest, southwest, west, whatever. Walk in there and get to them slope points that are south facing going down to that ag and walk through the dark in the morning. I said, I'll go as far to tell you this. I'd almost let it get to be light. You're going to be up and set in 15 minutes. It is what it is. You got nothing to lose. You've never been there. You know, you have no prior knowledge of this property. And I said, this is big country. I said, and see what comes back up to you, like the elk do in Colorado, Wyoming, and kind of hunt them like elk. But big, huge back doors. Going to bounce a deer or two on the way in.
Did he listen?
I don't know whatever happened of all that, how that worked out. But you've heard Don say about Tennessee, that guy. You went to his house?
Oh, yeah.
Don will say he'll tell you he's going to bounce deer on the way to his stand a couple times that morning, potentially, coming through that country to get to that point where he needs to be. And them deer are way down and in those valleys. Nothing really gets good sometimes till 9:30 or 10, comfortably 2 hours after sunrise. And I can tell you, I got friends that bow hunt hard in Maine. It gets real about 10 a.m. The first hour, they're still walking. The e-bike was a 4-mile ride. Then they had maybe a 1-mile walk, and they wouldn't go out near that where they needed to be because the thermals haven't rose yet. So they're just standing there twiddling their thumbs. It's been light an hour. Then they make that move. Now the thermals are all coming up to him. And within 2 hours, he's locked in and set, and that's what they do.
I feel like that's a hard thing for a lot of people that have been programmed. Oh, you got to be set up, half hour before daylight, and like. There's been times where I've had later access.
That's big country.
It feels wrong. Yeah, that's totally
big country. It's not a 100-acre farm. I get that, and I get why we can get all John Eberhard again and go in there and set for an hour and a half, and that maybe has that application for that spot.
Sure.
And that's just years of knowledge and trying and repeated failure till you figure out your style of hunting and then put that plan together for that specific piece of property.
Yeah. How often do you take that late access throughout the season? I know whether you're canoeing or going into a whatever. Are you a daybreak guy?
Okay, I'm going to jump ahead here a little on something. There's a question in this paper that says, "What have you done that's your weaknesses now later in life?"
Yeah,
getting older and I'm getting lazier, and I don't want to get to my tree stands any quicker than I have to in the evening. And I'm still setting up, putting my socks on. I took a nap, fell asleep at 1:30 p.m. and I'm like, "Oh man, it's the rut. It's going to start here soon." Here I go. But I would say, getting to my stands later in the morning.
Yeah,
I don't care. Not when it's 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th of November. October 5th, October 10th, I'm nervous if I'm not sitting in the dark for 30 minutes because I'm banking on that 30-minute window of good shooting light.
Sure.
Not an hour and a half after. I'm usually getting antsy and I'm down by then. If that area has that little neck and that little window, if he didn't come through that morning, he's not coming through at 10 a.m. I can tell you that. It's over. It's over.
Has your success been impacted by that at all? Like your opportunities?
No, that's I'm getting away with it more and more and more. Just like peeing out of the tree. I'm done. Like Don said, I looked at that pee bottle for years. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm not doing this no more. I'm done. And I'm decent. I'm kind of like Terry would say, joking about Don. I just listened to him the other day. I do the best I can with my clothes. I do spray my hat with whatever the scent killers are. I do my boots. I do let stuff air out. I do wash it the best I can. But I'm not freak mode. I'm not all the extra tools and all the extra this, that, and all the activated. And I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah.
I just go. I got more to worry about. I got more on my mind than just that alone. I know it's important. Their nose is everything. And here's the short of this. I hope people appreciate this. 30 years of ups and downs, getting winded a lot. Someone will go, but Jason, how good really is their nose? I'll just tell someone by shaking my head and thinking for a few seconds, it's just so dang good. I don't think you want to know because it would freak you out.
Yeah.
And that's just my take on it. And I said, you really want to get your mind blown? Take the next 10 years of your life and get serious about bow hunting pigs in Florida and Alabama and Louisiana and Texas. You're going to be severely humbled because it's even worse.
They have even better sense of smell.
It's even worse, and that really is not just my opinion. I'm talking to guys that live and breathe hog hunting that have killed a couple 100-inch deer with their rifle, maybe from a side-by-side in Louisiana, just hooting and hollering out of their deer shack, a couple 80-inch deer, 100-inch deer in Florida. They're diehard hog hunters.
Yeah.
Now, not even the dog runners and them guys that do all that are going in and stabbing them, but just true guys that go out and truly go after pigs. It's no joke. There is no, I'll stand here and stomp a bit. There is nothing. It is an instant light switch, and it's over. There's no second guessing it for a pig. They won't tolerate it.
I didn't know that.
They're the best.
I didn't know they're that fickle.
And we call them the poor man's grizzly. So for a tank of gas, no hunting license in the state of Florida, ever, for a non-resident to hunt a pig, ever. They want you there killing pigs.
Yeah.
365, thermals, do your thing. It's the poor man's grizzly. It's the funnest. To me, it's the funnest thing going in the country next to maybe antelope hunting. I used to like that when I lived out in Utah in the Air Force. I just love pig hunting. I enjoy it.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. What I want to ask you this, and this has probably happened. It's happened to everybody. God forbid you blow your opportunity up. Like it's August, everyone's excited. Everyone just has a high level of anticipation and optimism. If we did that same poll November 12th, people are likely not as optimistic. Maybe they screwed up an opportunity. Maybe they missed one. Maybe they got busted by their deer. How do you stay optimistic throughout the season? Because right now we're all at a high. Anticipation. Oh, man, this deer's still alive. Oh, I can't wait. But God forbid something's going to go wrong.
Yeah, and it happens. That's part of the game, and that's part of the process. And not all years are good ones, and not all years are bad ones. A lot of it's going to fall into that. The 1 to 10 scale of 4, 5, 6, the norm, and some are a little up, some are a little down. But you got better eyes than me. What's that say right there?
I can't read either.
Don't
invest too much.
There.
Mindset, be ready for unexpected change.
Be ready for unexpected change. You're going to have to change a lot, especially as that do-it-yourself hunter, that public land guru.
Yeah.
Once in my life, I got in decent time. I paddled. I got in there, my normal 10-minute paddle, going back to the tree, the largest whitetail I've ever shot an arrow at and killed. He's on Whitetail Cribs.
Yeah.
Real quick story. Never seen him. Don't have a shed off him. Didn't have a name for him. It was so 1993, it was unbelievable. He walked by. What was I supposed to do? Toop. And he was following a doe. It just happened.
Yeah.
And I got my 5 days of gifts, as a fifth day of gift given to me in the last 30 years. It just happened. And I've had years where I've never picked my bow up. It's just the way it is. Going back to the same traditional trees, it just didn't work that year. Public land pressure, this, that, and the other. But I paddled in, and there was a big bass boat already parked, and it was dark. He wasn't fishing. It got light. I thought, I'm going to make the most of this. Unexpected. Just like I said, be prepared for unexpected things. 45 minutes into daylight, I heard the antlers. He did not finish. He heard my antlers. 10 minutes later, I heard the antlers again. I'm envisioning him being done. I think he's done by a second or two. He heard my antlers again. He was probably 150 yards from me, maybe 125, down in the bowl, down in the belly of the beast where you aren't supposed to go in the wind trap. Waited about 20 more minutes. So I was there he was there 45 minutes before he started. I gave that an hour and a half. I paddled back out, went for breakfast, and thought, we'll try it again. Never seen him again. When I got there and seen that truck parked and that boat trailer sitting there, I'm like, this ought to be good. I felt good he picked my spot to park it because there's only so many peninsulas that go back in and this and that and the story behind that. And you go in and it's 90 yards to that tree, and that's a 3 deer tree for me in the last 5-6 years. Five years of hunting 3 deer tree. And it is what it is.
20 years ago, do you think you could have found that tree?
That's a big fat maybe.
Yeah.
Just being honest with you.
Yeah.
That's a big fat maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. But I got tired. I said, I'm not walking through this 500 acres of jungle. It's 90 yards to that tree.
Yeah.
My record is 30 feet from my canoe to the tree, and the doe walked between me and the canoe. And only because them ducks were swimming by my olive drab green, lightweight, high-end canoe, same one John has up in Michigan, that's why I got it. It was a little whatever. and I'm setting back in that peninsula, and they go around me up in that point and go around the other side. And I thought, one of these days, I'm gonna launch one over there at 65 yards and pop a doe. Well, now the tree's over there. I've been watching enough. I've had that happen for 3 years, and just watch movement. What goes by me ends up over there. Mm-hmm. Or if I don't see nothing, it goes around that peninsula of water to get over there into that, what I'll call the yellow grass in the forest. It goes right along the swamp marsh area, all that grass. Goes back
probably
into
reed canary.
Yeah, probably reed canary. And or they come down off the top and come down in. I'm still on that property where the 3 deer tree is.
Okay.
It's the biggest bedding area I can think of, and I'm going to tell you it's 1 mile long.
So how do you pick a spot?
You swim through it. And there's pockets, there's openings, and then terrain features. Now, I can tell you a lot of deer are going to bed in a 10-acre thicket. If it's a 10-acre square in Illinois and there's ag all the way around it, there is no way in God's green earth them deer are bedding dead center. They won't do it. They're bedding within 10 to 40 yards. They will constantly. They go in, turn their back to the center of that pocket, and they stare out at the grain. They have to.
Yeah.
They'll watch a coyote run the edge. Won't stand up, won't do nothing. At least they can see them. And tractors go by, side-by-sides go by. They could bail back, and if it's bad enough, bail out of that block and go over to the next block. But those deer, I have bounced them with my canoe going in at 2:30 p.m. A little bit of a lesson, not a hard lesson learned, but a lesson I learned to.
Do they bed on the edge of the imaginary block on an island?
No, it's big timber.
So
it comes down to a lake, 100-some acre lake. Long
Don't
and
give
narrow.
too many details away.
No. But the river system, really.
Yeah.
And they bed within 10 to 30 yards of the water.
Okay.
Do they bed 70, 80 yards up in on bench? Absolutely. That's where I killed that deer, 90 yards up in there. And they come out of the top that was real thick and come down off the point to me. Mm-hmm. That's how that worked out. So making these mistakes, moving forward, just a quick side note, this is super huge. That I talk about these mistakes I made or things I did or things I wouldn't, things I'd do now that I wouldn't have done then. This was the key word. This was the key word for me the whole day coming in.
Respect.
Someone goes, what's one of the best things you can do to tell me to become a better deer hunter? And it is about that. It's about being a better deer hunter. Get this big buck thing out of your head. That's going to come. There's a lot of people listening right now that are 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, 24. There's people listening to this, Jake, probably that are 50 years old, and this is their first year bow hunting. Mm-hmm. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Like that's what this is it. My thing to tell you would be like we were talking about the nose. It's so good that it's scary, or it's these pigs. Like you said, are they really that much better than a whitetail? They are. It's called respect, and until you respect them and really appreciate what they are, you're just go in and go, okay, I got winded. That deer, the 2 groups of deer come by 40 minutes apart today, and both of them looked up at me in the tree. That should not be happening. It just should not be happening. Something's up. You need to go, as we said, further down that fence row, 60, 70 yards, make a 20-yard move, get 25 yards away instead of 10, 12 yards away. But that's just a big one. You're going to learn to respect him, or tell yourself, I'm going to respect this deer for what he is. And the other thing, too, looking at some of this stuff, how some of these deer, you look at our big landowners we just talked about, even get to 6 years old and 200 inches. Poachers, highway collisions, fawn mortality rate in Pennsylvania alone by black bears and upstate New York is staggering. EHD. The list goes on and on and on. So for him to get to even a huntable level for the normal public land hunter that we're talking about mostly today, at 3.5 years old and scoring 130, 135, hopefully, it is a big deal. And that's a dang respectable deer. And I've said it before, the art of the deal is lost. That was one of my key things 7 years ago with you guys that people just aren't respecting them. And someone goes, I shot a 130, but I want to try and I almost stop them. I go, you need to get about 5 to score 130. And you'll get there. There's nothing wrong with that. This is your game to play. Don't get caught up in the media. Don't get caught up in what you call your friends. You only got that core group of 2 or 3 guys, and there's no one can tell me, oh, I have 10 guys in my hunting camp. We all get along, all 10 of us. It's impossible. I hope everybody out there riding down the road listening to this podcast right now is chuckling. They're like, he's right. And when I see him, I'm going to tell him, you said exactly what I took him home and complained to my wife about our hunting camp. And that's the way it is. I mean, it's just, but just respect the critter for what he is.
So the double end of that is I agree with that. But in the same breath, sometimes maybe people give them too much credit.
Yep.
And so like that, there's probably a fine line with that too. I think you're exactly right. Respecting the game and respecting a buck and their wits and how rare it is to have that opportunity at whatever gets your heart increased. Because what if we're being really honest?
Yes.
It maybe happens once or twice a year for the average guy. Maybe once.
That encounter?
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%, if it happens at all.
Yes. And so
absolutely,
that's how rare it really is.
100%.
I know it's easy to romanticize looking backwards, and it's like, oh yeah, man, that one sit.
It may not be as rare as that 200-inch deer that Houston said 0.1%.
Crazy.
When did that podcast drop?
Yesterday when we recorded.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
People need to go back and listen to Jack Houston's podcast.
Yeah.
It isn't about being a bow shot or a world-class bow shooter or who has the best deer on the wall. This is another extension of respecting those statistics he gave. I was just like you.
Yeah.
I looked at the radio like, is this what?
It's crazy.
Very crazy. And we're going in there all gangbusters because we watch our heroes on TV, which I think are great. Great characters, great people on film. And we're going in there thinking this is the home run derby halfway through the Major League Baseball season. All them batters get up, they do the same thing, turn their hat around backwards, get cocky, and all them kids are waiting for is the home run derby.
Yeah.
No one's talking about base hits. No one's talking about RBIs. No one's talking about shifting the outfielders a little bit because this batter's this way.
Yeah.
There's so many little things and little minor details to this game of bow hunting that just go in there and just have an open mind, respect the critter, and just get ready to learn.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I think that's a lost art.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, but you wouldn't think something that basic would
If
be a
I
lost
could
art.
add one other thing, Tony Peterson.
Yeah.
He's my clone. I have to meet him. Do you know why? You go, do you got a specific deer picked out? He goes, nope, just going to go hunt.
Yeah.
Jake, that really is kind of been me for a while. I sent you a picture of that deer this morning.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll get back to Ohio to even hunt him.
Yeah.
If he makes it one more year, forget it. Magazine cover.
Yeah.
Like that deer's on track to be.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go hunt him again and have one walk by, and I'm going to go, you know what? He's working my licking branch that I made, or he's rubbing on my rubbing post, and my plan worked, and that means something to me.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that.
You and Tony would get along great.
Yep.
I have no doubt about that. Okay, here's a question for you. If I followed you around for an entire season, just followed you around, what are the little things I would notice that I wouldn't be able to notice if I was not trailing you around? I know that's a very, very poorly worded question, but if I followed you around for a whole season, just your shadow, what do you think I would pick up on that we would not cover on this podcast by me asking you questions?
That is a tough one. That is really tough.
Other than your naps.
Yeah,
This
other
guy
than my
sleeps a lot.
naps. Yep, I listen to. I don't really do much social media. I don't check like the Trophy Bow Hunters of Iowa and the different states. I don't look at much of the stuff on Instagram. I love getting a coffee for my afternoon rides in at my Casey's, wherever I'm at, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas. I just love Casey's coffee. I park. I sit there. I think about it for a bit. My walk might be a little different. I might stop and take a leak, about the same distance away every time, and then just get in my stand and just kind of a little bit. Sometimes people will think like someone might go, I don't know about that. Everybody's brother's tougher, who their linebacker on their high school team would beat your linebacker.
Yeah.
There's a couple things I do that you might go, I don't know about that, because there's a couple things I'm just really like dang good at.
Like what?
Like dang good at. And if they had a contest for snort wheezing, I dupe them. Like I'm very savvy with that and reading body language and getting him to come over. And you'd see me call a little differently. I love doe bleats. I love doe
Do you
bleeding.
use the can or what do you?
No, I have a tube.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
I do like
yeah,
the can, and instead of just tilting it, once you tilt it and it makes it sound,
Yeah.
leave it there, upside down. Don't bring it back where it started. Blow in that little hole in the end, cup it with your hand, and cup it with your mouth. Leave that like those,
Yeah.
it was the Primos can
Yeah,
originally. Leave it upside down. Don't turn it back where it comes. People are getting up to go get their call right now.
I have
Out in
one
the garage
on,
and
I
try
have
it.
one on my desk.
They're going to go try it right now. Do your little meow and leave it there and blow in that hole that you like got your thumb over into that little tiny, smaller eraser on a pencil. Blow in it and go meow and cup it with your hand at the end. That's how I use them calls. I don't turn it over and down.
We're gonna have to get a clip of that.
People are like, they're eight. What's he talking about?
We need the tutorial.
The answer was there the whole time. I'm starving. How can this be? But no, but yeah. And then I think I heard it referenced about another individual. It's more of a high profile type of guy and bow hunter. I think over the years, I want to tell you I've always been dang good at it. And if anybody truly went back and seen Whitetail Cribs, that isn't all my kills. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think of his right name right now. I've been around him different times, got his number. But Chris, the bow shooter, does a lot with Sitka.
Chris B.
Yeah. He said in his podcast this weekend to someone, he goes, there's bow shooters, really great target archers, and then there's killers. Mm-hmm. And I am dang good on a 3D course. I'm dang good with a bow and arrow. I love playing that 70, 80, 90-yard game in my backyard and being specific on a quartering away target. Like I get pretty saucy with it. I don't care if they're 2 or 3 or 4 yards away. And someone goes, I'm going to let him go out there. I'm like, no, he's edgy, and the wind's shifting down, the thermals are dropping. We ain't got 10 minutes of daylight left. The deer is dead. Mm-hmm. I'm going to spine him. I'm going to just miss the spine, and I'm just have been very, I would say for my own self, if you had to ask me what one of my strengths were, and we've talked about it before, people are like, hey, what's one thing you could pass on? And we did it, and I had a guy hit me up on Instagram. He goes, hey, I get it, and I'm a good shot too, but what are some other things you could tell me? And I almost like backed up and said, no, you're never going to be a good enough bow shot on a wild animal under the pressure, under that moment. When we talked about it one time, if we rattled and we were filming,
you had me laughing.
and he come in and you go, oh, my word, I'm almost shaking right now given this scenario. That's what it's about. Just growing and maturing as a hunter. And people go, oh, no, I'm good at 20 yards. Yeah, I get that. Now let's get dang good over the next 5 years, maybe, because it's going to take some time. It does not happen in 1 year. Don't happen at 30 yards. And then that's pretty much that's not your farthest extreme shot. You're going to maybe shoot further than that, at a deer someday or antelope or elk. But you just have to be so critically fanatical that I get the full draw, I get the and the finger just swats. And I'm not going to say nothing, but if you did say, man, you really whacked that trigger, they go, what do you care? It's dead. He's on the wall. There's a part of me in my little world I've never said on these podcasts that it's just like, I do that too in the moment, or I'm back and I'm all out of sorts, and that bow's coming back by my shin and I'm down, and my head isn't on my peep like it's July and my T-shirt and my hey dudes. It's getting it done is, I'm not knocking anybody and I do not want to offend anybody, but it's not for everybody at that level of what I'm talking about. These deer are dead when I get them in there, and some of them angles aren't good and they flop.
Yeah. Well, anything else, Jason?
Not right off the top.
Well, next time you come to town, we should have that studio all dressed up, ready to rock and roll. We'll have a comfy chair. You just roll right in.
Oh, my gosh.
And we'll roll out the red carpet
It'll
for
probably be that mid-September one, getting ready for the...
It'll be done before then.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that next podcast, potentially, we'll talk about the dates, the key time frames, the moon phases.
That's an annual tradition now.
Yep.
So where can people find you in case they have questions or anything else?
Still the same thing, Jason Michael, 803. And we can go with that. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right, there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode with Jason. It's always a pleasure. As he alluded to, we're going to have him on for pick your best days of the year for anyone that has to pick vacation days and everything else. And as you can see, we're going to be having a new in-person studio. Really excited about that. Love in-person episodes. Feel like it's a better conversation and a better product for you guys to listen and tune in and watch. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to have that pretty much done here in the next couple weeks. That's the plan and the goal. If you made it this far, thank you so much. It would mean the world if you hit the subscribe button or left a review. It helps us find more people. And lastly, thank you to Onyx Hunt, Hawk Optics, Latitude, Buckland Funding, and Painted Arrow for supporting the show. We will see you.